That Sober Guy podcast contains adult content, merciless truth, and emotional nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
I'm Shane Ramey. You're listening to That Sober Guy podcast, and we help people stay sober. If it's your first time listening, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here today. If you're looking to quit or cut back on your drinking, we have one of the best 30-day alcohol-free challenges out there. It's helped hundreds of men all over the country quit drinking alcohol, find purpose, be better husbands, fathers, entrepreneurs. 30 podcasts in 30 days, plus a bunch of good stuff to go with. You can sign up today and check out all of our other podcasts and resources by going to thatsoberguy.com. So be sure to check that out. You can also follow us on Instagram at That Sober Guy Podcast. Title of today's episode, How to Put Together a Sober Game Plan for Weddings, Events, and Parties, wherever the heck you're going and you're just trying to take a break from alcohol or cut it out for good, whatever that looks like for you. We're going to talk about how to put together a game plan for that. It's like anything else. And I've had a lot of messages about game planning lately. I think it's because it's kind of that like mid-year point. The summer's coming up. It's party season, baby. It's wedding season. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's enjoying the sun and it's ready to party down.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. I don't know why I thought about that. Man, I really jacked that up, didn't I? Damn it.
Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
I just totally killed that one. But in any case, hey, I tried, right? One of the best movies ever. Party on, Wayne. It's like what I thought of when I was putting together the title for this. It kept coming in my bed. In fact, a friend of mine, Ray, and I think I've talked about him on the podcast probably before, but it'd be funny, man. We'd party back in the day, and his dad, Kevin, he would come in the room in the mornings, and you'd like late teens, early 20s, out all night, going to punk rock shows and partying and having a good time. And, we'd be sleeping still, and he'd peek his head in and say, "Party on, Wayne, party on, Garth." And just close the door. That's it. So, that was a lot of fun back in the day, I got to say. But when it gets to a point, as we start getting older and we start having families and responsibilities, and we want to become better human beings. We want to stay healthy. We're not getting any younger. At least I'll speak for myself. I know there are some of you who listen to this who are still, 20s, 30s. But for those of us in our 40s and 50s, and as we get older, man, like it changes. Like our bodies change, our mindset changes, our health changes, and we start to look at life from a different perspective. And we also understand that, hey, like we're not going to live forever. Like, my 20s, my 30s, like that wasn't even a thought to me. Like I was like going to live forever. Like you don't start to think about that kind of stuff. And then as you get a little bit older, you start to question some of that stuff. And that's where, drinking sometimes can come in. It can start having effects on your life, on your family, on your own personal health, on your own personal attitude. Just feeling, lethargic if you're drinking a little bit more than you like to. And I always say this, and I'll say it again today. I still have yet to meet anybody who has said to me, my habitual drinking habits have really improved my life. Haven't heard it yet, and I don't think that I probably will ever hear that. Maybe actually somebody told me there was an exception. Who was that? Someone was just telling me that yesterday. I can't remember now, but they said the guy was 98 years old and he still had a glass of brandy and a cigar every day. And, hey, that's the one exception. And I would argue the point, if that dude does quit, he'll probably die because he's been doing it so long. So, hey, he might need to keep going. But if you're in your 40s, if you're in your 30s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, it doesn't really matter. I get emails from dudes. I had an email a couple months back. I can't remember where the guy was from now, but he was in his 70s and he had quit drinking in his 70s. Like he was done. I think he had 6 months or 8 months or something, if I remember. And he was ready to change after like 50 plus years of drinking. So it's a good example that's never too late. It doesn't matter where you're at. Only thing that matters is where you're at today and what you decide to do today. So I've had like quite a few people reach out to me for some one-on-one coaching. One of those people who sent me an email about coaching was attending a wedding soon. So he's asking about kind of how to prepare for that. I had another conversation with a current client of mine about game planning for his office brew and queue and kind of how to stay, alcohol free through that, while a lot of other people in the office are kind of hanging out and partying after hours together. How do you still bond? How do you still be a leader, with your business and still participate without having to, drink if you don't want to do that. You're trying to stay sober. So that can be a tough one as well. I even talked to a really close family member of mine and friend of mine, at the gym just a couple of days ago. And we were talking about my niece's wedding coming up, and actually we're getting ready to head out for that for a couple of days to enjoy her and her fiance getting married and having some good times with family and friends. And at the same time, there's going to be some drinking there. So how do you kind of navigate that if you don't want to drink, but you still want to have a good time? Like, it is possible to stay alcohol free and still have a great time and have fun. And is it a little different at first? Absolutely. Does it take a little bit of adjustment and getting used to? Absolutely. It takes patience. It takes determination. It takes creating a game plan and kind of revisiting some of your habits and some of the daily things and weekly, monthly, annual things ways that we live our life in these specific environments. So today we're going to go through creating a game plan for you. We're going to take a look at what that looks like what that process is. And I'm going to give you about 20 options. My best advice for this would be to pick a handful, pick 5 or 6 that work best for you. And if you have your own, incorporate one of those into your own plan as well. But the point here is to create something that works for you and create something that you are going to be somewhat excited about, in a sense. I mean, and maybe excited is the wrong word. I know there can be some anxiety there and different feelings and stuff too when we're making these big changes like this, especially trying to get through a dinner or a wedding or a work barbecue or just a get together with family and friends, and you're having to make those live changes kind of in that environment. But the game plan is so important. So let's kind of jump into that today. I'm just getting a little popping in my headphones here. Let me make sure it's not this. I think I had a loose XLR input there. Sorry, nerd talk. All right, quick drink. Got a new Yeti yesterday. Jess made fun of me because it's like teal. It's like, ugh, this is a teal. Why'd you get that color? And then I started looking at it and I immediately hated it. I hate it now. I just hate the color of it. So I'll have to get a new one. Maybe I'll pass it down to someone else in the family and I'll just get a plain colored one. I just want a white one or a black one. Nothing flashy. Why am I talking like that? I don't know. Okay. Anyways. All right, here we go. Game planning. So I thought about this as I was kind of doing the notes for this today or the other day. And what is game planning? What is it? And I think it's a pretty common thing. I expect most likely everyone knows what game planning is, but just in case, it's pretty simple. And I had a couple examples here. Do the Oakland A's play a 3-game series against the Yankees without a game plan? Some of you might go, it sure seems that way sometimes. And I could relate to you in that, being a lifelong A's fan. It's been rough. We haven't won. So I hate when people do that. I'm not part of the team. So let me just rephrase that. The Oakland A's haven't won a championship since 1989, I think it was. That was the Battle of the Bay, the Earthquake Series, just for you Giants fans. Yes, they did beat the Giants. Lost to the Dodgers the year before that, 1988. Kirk Gibson hit the home run. Actually, Jess has said that my father-in-law, the only time she's ever seen him cry is when Kirk Gibson hit the home run in the 1988 World Series with the classic fist pump around the bases. Man, what a great moment that was. But here's the question. When the A's play, whether it's the Yankees, whoever it is, we'll use the Yankees in this little example here. Do they plan their positioning? Do they plan their strategy based on the opponent's stats, on the Yankees stats that day? Do they plan their pitching rotation based on a specific lineup. Obviously, when you're playing the Yankees for a 3-game set, you're really going to have to plan ahead and take a look at stats. And I mean, because every person in the lineup can freaking crush the ball. So you're going to have to game prep. Like, they don't just get up there and they're like, hey, let's just pitch to Aaron Judge the best we can. Hopefully we'll get him or one of the other $100 million all-star athletes on that team, and we'll just throw it over the plate. And hopefully they don't hit it out of the park, and maybe we'll pick up a win. I don't know. We'll do our best. No, they don't do that. They got a game plan, because every player on that team and a lot of different teams in MLB, like, you're going to have to get ready. You're going to have to prep. You're going to have to study. You're going to have to create a plan going into that game, into that series. It's the same thing. Like, another one I thought of, does the Navy plan an operation without a game plan? Hey, yeah, we're going to go board this vessel. Going to board the vessel, and we think it might have some drugs and pirates on it, maybe a couple hostages. Hey, Bob, hey, Bill, why don't you grab a couple grenades, a few magazines loaded up. Maybe we'll grab a flamethrower, a couple sticks of dynamite. We'll see what we can do. Let's go. Let's try. They don't do that. No, they're going to game plan. They probably prep for days, for weeks, for months, for bigger events, years ahead. They prep. They're professional. Okay. And they do their job well. If you're talking about like a Navy SEAL team or like special ops team is kind of what I had in mind in this. Like, they're training, they're constantly practicing, they're failing at times, they're getting right back up, and they're trying to improve and fix the mistakes they made. So when I say that, for those of you out there listening, maybe you've gone, 2-3 weeks before you're able to put a couple of weeks together, maybe even a couple months, and then boom, you're right back to it again on a Friday night because something happened. You got stressed out at work, or you had a party and you just really felt like you wanted to let loose. You had a little bit of time without alcohol, and then boom, you're right back in that same spot. Like, it's part of the process for a lot of us. I did that many times. I tried to quit many, many times. The baseball analogy, how many pitchers have, great pitchers have gotten shots hit off them in critical moments, home runs, you could look at that and say that's a failure at that time. Maybe in that moment, yeah, you failed, you lost, but what are you going to do next time? How are you going to get back up and pick your face up off the floor and go, man, I'm not going to do it like that next time. I'm going to make an adjustment. I'm going to game plan better. So there's some options in this, but we have to think ahead, and you have to have a plan going into whatever event it is, because let me tell you, alcohol is a powerful, powerful, powerful tool. They don't call it spirits for nothing. It literally invades people's spirits. It does. And that's why you see it change a lot of people. And that's why people 9 times out of 10, you talk to different people and you hear about their problems or their issues. And a lot of the time there's one factor that brings it all together, and it's usually alcohol. Like, it's funny. This wasn't on the notes today, but I want to share this really quick. Jess and I are in a marriage group right now. I think we're about 6 or 7 months in. It's called Intimate Encounters, and it's a really an amazing group. And it really helps you just work on communication and working on some of your old stuff. It's not like a marriage group where you go in and you're like, she did this or he did that. It's not like that at all. It's in a group setting. I think there's about 8 other couples in there with us. And everybody's different too in this group, which makes it really cool. Different backgrounds, different people, different cultures. It's a really, really cool group. And, you talk and you share. And the first part of it is book work, and you're going through a study every week. And then you meet and you talk about it. And then the part, I think this last 8 weeks has been what they call sculpting. And so each couple gets up in front of the whole group and you literally share your story. And from this perspective, it's about your childhood. So you have to share your childhood stuff. And how many of us have childhood crap that is hard to talk about and we don't want to talk about, and trauma and different experiences, whether good or unfortunately a lot of the time bad, that really haunt us and have helped shape the way that we think, the way that we act, the way that we parent, the way that we are in relationships with our spouses today, because of those old school things that we were conditioned to think about or to be or to feel or to hear or to say as kids. And so working through some of that in a group setting and having, support around you is a super, super powerful thing. And I'll kind of leave that right there. Check, Intimate Encounters, they offer it through many different churches. It's definitely something I would highly, highly recommend. But the point to that is that one thing I noticed last night in the couple that shared is, I think there's only one couple left. And out of all of us, I'll speak in particularly for the dudes, but even the ladies in there too. But every single dude who's shared so far has had some sort of issue with their father, whether it be he wasn't there, whether it be he was abusive, whether it be there was some kind of trauma or stress. And every single one of them, I think, except for maybe the exception of one, had to do with alcohol and or drugs, but alcohol, the main focal point of, some pretty terrible and serious things, unfortunately, that, that we've experienced. And all of the men in there, all of us have issues with our fathers at that point. And that is a powerful, powerful thing. And it really made me realize how important a father or a father figure is, to be a role model, to be a leader, to be the head of the family, to lead and guide. And it doesn't mean that we're going to be perfect at it. We're not. Like, nobody is perfect. That's literally being a husband and a father. I got to say, probably the two hardest things I've ever done and continue to do in my life, because it's just a constant process of trying to fix your mess ups and then be better than you were yesterday and be present and do all the things. And, the financial responsibility, emotional responsibility, go down the list of things that we have to do. And I'm just speaking for the dudes. Moms, y'all are amazing. Let me just say that. Some of the things that my wife does and that I see other, friends, wives and families and moms doing is just, it's absolutely incredible. But we each have our role, right? In that. And specifically for this, the relevance of speaking to the dudes today, dude, dads are such an important thing. And if we're not dialed in and we're constantly habitually drinking our lives away, and what are we showing our kids? Kids don't just listen, they watch more than anything, and they see. And so that stuff gets passed down, if we don't stand up and make some changes. And I think where I was going with that too was the fact that it robs you of your spirit. It robs you, alcohol, it robs you of the person that God designed you to be, because it makes us somebody that we're not. And over time, as you continually drink and drink and drink over years, you have no idea who you are anymore, because you can't even sit and be present in the moment without having this substance, and literally it's poison, right, that we're putting in our bodies to loosen up or to relax or to have fun or to cry because we're sad. Do you understand? That tool there it's exactly what it is. It's a tool, and it's so normalized. It's so normalized today. And I don't want to sound like I'm straight demonizing all, it, but I kind of am at this point in my life, because I really have a really distaste for alcohol, because I've seen what it's done to families, in particularly my own family, people I care about. My uncle passed away recently, and he was having some severe issues with alcohol, and they ended up finding a huge blood clot in his chest and his lungs. And, it just makes me mad. It makes me sad. And that's why I think I continue to talk about this kind of stuff. And so, hey, there's plenty of people too that can have a glass of wine and do their thing. So that's not the people I'm talking to. Do you? That's good. I'm talking about, if we want to stay sober, if we want to do, live a better life, live a more positive lifestyle, health-wise, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all that. Man, I can't say enough. One of the best things I ever did to encourage that and continue to grow in that is to cut out alcohol. So, all right, that was enough. That was a little longer than I expected there, but how to put together a sober game plan for weddings, events, and parties. Let's dive into this. The first thing too, I want to say is oh man, what was it? Now I totally lost my train of thought. I think I need to take a drink here, man. I was like, Okay. Lethal Weapon 4, Joe Pesci. Okay. You should have an important kind of part to this, you should have some sort of coach or accountability partner. And we'll kind of talk about that at the end. But here it is. Here's the creating a plan. So first I wanted to say too, get a pen, get a piece of paper, get your phone, your notes, write some of this stuff down. If you're sitting there, if you can, if you're walking, even if you can't get all of it, get some of it, get the ones that are important to you and write them down so you have them. There's something about writing things out that is much more powerful. It's going to be a little bit easier for you to visualize and stay true to it at the same time too. All right, identifying what type of event it is. So identifying is number one, identifying what type of event it is. So is it a wedding? Is it a birthday? Is it an office party? Is it a vacation with family and friends? Is it just a quick night out for dinner with somebody, or your family and friends? What does that look like? Identifying what it is, so that way you can start your game plan. Like and that brings us into number two, like how extensive does this plan need to be? Like, for instance, for the wedding that we're about to go to, my niece, like we're there for the whole weekend. This is a weekend thing. Like whole family's involved. Everyone's helping out. Everyone's together. Awesome place, like on this little like farmhouse on the coast, like really, really cool. But we're all going to be there for days. So like if that's something maybe you're going on vacation, somewhere, you're going to Vegas for, a sporting event or something, or just to go have fun and go to some restaurants and whatever, or you're going down to SoCal or something, to the beach for a couple of days, getting a beach house, like whatever it is, is it extended or is it short period? And that's going to help you start to figure out how extensive this plan needs to be. Okay. So number three, this is a very, very important one. And I know some of you will go, but I hope not. I hope most of you go, yes, that's right. Pray. Like surrender to the moment. Accept the fact that like your body and your mind and your heart is telling you that you don't really want to drink anymore. You don't really want to live like that anymore. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't mean that your life's over or that you don't have to label yourself if you don't want to. Like, no, you're making some changes. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And the best way to ask for that support is to pray, is to meditate, to sit in self for just a few moments. It doesn't have to be anything long. And just say, God, like I give up control to you, God. Just take this away from me. I don't want anything to do with it anymore, at least right now. And I accept the fact that I'm not in control. I accept the fact that you're in control and that I'm just going to do the next right thing. And you can keep it simple like that. And I'm telling you, verbalizing that out, especially if you can do it with somebody else, your spouse, a friend, and if you can't, that's fine. Do it in your mind, do it in your heart, because that's going to be a powerful, powerful thing that's going to kind of put you off. Maybe you do it before you go, or on your way. Maybe you got to do it every day. If it's a multiple day thing, you got to do it first thing in the morning. You got to do it all day. And the serenity prayer is another great one for that. I think we just did a podcast a few weeks back on the serenity prayer. And I think actually that's number 12 in here too. So we'll get to that in a few, so number 3, pray. Number 4, this is a big one. This is a big one in the prep game. And we get this question a lot. What will you say if someone asks you if you want to drink or why you're not drinking? You have to be prepared for this, because I promise you, your friend, your family member, somebody you just met, chances are they're probably going to be intoxicated a bit. Let me get you a beer. You get a beer. No, I'm good. What do you mean? Why aren't you drinking? I don't know. It's my drunk voice. I have no idea. But what are you going to say? Are you going to go into a long draw? Well, actually, I'm thinking about it and I'm having a really tough time these days. And no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. But you got to be prepared. You got to know what to say. You got to know how to say it. And so for me, let me give you a couple examples. So quick ones. You're taking a break. I'm just taking a break. Oh, you're not drinking? Now, you know what? I'm actually doing a 30-day challenge right now at the gym or whatever. Or with a buddy of mine. We're just trying to see what it is for, they do Sober October. Yeah, I'm doing, sober June or sober July, whatever. Make something up like that, but keep it short and sweet. Talk about your fitness, your health. No, I'm actually doing a new health plan for a minute, so I'm cutting alcohol out. Or I'm not feeling good. I decided to get sober, and you're hammered right now, and you should probably do the same. Don't do that. That's probably not going to work well. You don't ever want to tell anybody what to do. And you can just drop the old classic one. Don't freaking worry about it. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't recommend that one either. You don't want to come off like a jerk. Just the point is, figure out what you're going to say beforehand and just keep it short and sweet. You don't have to go into a long, drawn out thing, because let me tell you why. I promise you, nobody cares. Nobody, at the end of the day, really gives a crap. They're going to be worried about themselves, especially if they're drinking. They're not really going to bother you once you shut it down. And, we'll get to kind of the next couple ones because they fall in line with this. So we'll have to come back to this as well. But know what you're going to say. I would suggest saying the least amount possible and, to not draw any unwanted attention to yourself. And just do your thing. Just be ready, because somebody probably will ask you. And I can promise you at the end of the day, they probably don't really care. So it's not as big a deal as you think. Just be prepared. Number 5, what shall I bring? What do you bring on the trip or to the dinner or to, this, like, what? Maybe you need to bring some snacks with you. Maybe you need to bring, something to prepare yourself, to make your mind. And that kind of leads into number 6, bring your favorite NA drinks, your favorite non-alcoholic drinks. Like, what are those? So for me this weekend, as we go out, what weekend is it? This weekend, next weekend? Regardless, I'm going to be bringing an ice chest. We're going to have some snacks in there. It's going to be loaded with my Pellegrino drinks, some waters, probably some Bucked Ups. Have you heard the Bucked Ups? Anybody on those? It's like a pre-workout. I like those. They're highly caffeinated. They got some creatine and that kind of stuff too for a little pre-workout, little pick you up. What else? Maybe you want to, like, everyone know, well, not everybody, but I talk about this before. My go-to is kind of a Pellegrino or some soda water and some cranberry and a lime or a lemon. So you can bring those. You can bring NA beers if that's something that you're into. You want to bring NA beer. There's plenty of those. Athletic Brewing, Bravis, all the major, corporations make them now too, because they're trying to milk for as much money as they can on there, of course, because that's what they're about, making money. And that's why, that's what they do. But whole nother story there. But you can bring NA beers if that's something that you're into. Maybe that helps for if it's some sort of event. But the point is being prepared and prepping, being ready to go to grab one of those drinks. And maybe you got a solo cup. Maybe there's solo cups at the event, or maybe, you're somewhere or you have your own cup. Take that drink, the NA drink that you make or that you brought or that you're going to make because you brought it, because you were smart, and pour it into a solo cup or pour it into your own cup, put some ice on it. Nobody's going to know. And once again, nobody is going to care. And if they do care and they give you shit for that, then personally, for me, that's somebody I don't really care to have a relationship with anyway. So see ya, bro. Like, I'm not dealing with that crap at 40, 42, 43 years old anymore. I don't have time for that. Like, do you, and I'll do me, so be prepared. Bring those drinks, bring a cup. And like, I promise you that's going to help in that social setting so much where everyone else is drinking. Just have a drink with you. Like, have your NA drink with you at all times, refill it. It will help to connect. Like when we talked about making changes, or a lot of this stuff is just being in that social setting and being in that routine of having something to drink with you and drinking and talking and socializing and, being social and having fun. Yes, there's a component of alcohol, no doubt. But I'm telling you, when you remove the component of alcohol, you can still have the social piece of it, of the drink, and you can kind of replicate that without getting drunk and without acting like a jackass and without being hungover the next day, and still continuing on your, day to day of trying to live alcohol free or whatever time frame that is that you've set that you want to do, and really just focus on that day in that moment. That's the best approach to take. All right. So favorite NA drinks. Let's just recap real quick. Identify what type of event it is. How extensive does the plan need to be? Pray, meditate, surrender to the moment, give up control. What are you going to say if someone asks if you want to drink? Why aren't you drinking? And then what are you going to bring? Like, you're going to bring some snacks, or you're going to, and what kind of favorite drinks are you going to bring as well? So you're ready and prepared, to be a part of that social event without the alcohol. And maybe just a little caveat too, maybe you're going to a restaurant, you're going to an event, you can always ask. For some reason you showed up late, or you didn't have time to prep, or you forgot, maybe there's an NA drink there you can get, or just come up with something. Like I said, the Pellegrino, the cranberry, the lemon, the lime, that's a good little mix as well. All right. Identify if there's a sober friend that you can bring, or a partner that you can kind of partner up with at the event. Like, is there already going to be somebody there that's sober, or do you know somebody who you can bring and have to, there with you that is also not drinking? That's huge too. I know there's a couple of my family, who's going to be there who don't drink. And that is super helpful. At this point, it doesn't really bother me as much, being over 10 years in. Like, I'm pretty cautious of what events and settings I put myself in, but it's always nice when you have someone else there who's not drinking, and it kind of gives you a little bit of support, a little bit of, oh, okay, cool. I'm not the only one, who's not partaking in the alcoholic beverages this time. And that's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to know that you're not alone, I guess, in that. And it definitely will help. So identifying if you have a sober friend you can bring, or there's somebody that's going to be there at the event that's sober, that's a great another tip, and something you can add to the list. Number 8, have someone you can call if needed. Have someone you can call if you needed, or if you need to call them. Who's that person that you trust? Who is that person that is not going to judge you? They know that that they're on your side, that they're going to be there for you. They're going to encourage you. They're going to come pick you up if they need to. That is going to be so important too. So who is that person? Or maybe it's somebody at the event too. Maybe it's somebody at the party, or the wedding, or wherever it is that you're at. There's going to be somebody there. You've already identified them, and you could even tell them beforehand, hey, I'm not drinking tonight. Like, I might need to holler at you for a minute if I get a little squirrely, or I get a little urge, or, something. Is that cool? And just line that out ahead of time. Boom, there you go. So when that, uncle comes up and is offering you a shot, and like, yeah, and you're like, damn, I really could take this right now. I'd really like to. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll either step out and make a phone call, or I'll go sit over here, talk to my, homie who's sober over here too. Whatever that looks like, have somebody there that you can call or you can meet up with. Number 9, have an escape plan. Have an escape plan. How about the old Houdini? Where did Shane go? Where did Shane go? I remember get that all the time. Where did Shane? Well, usually it's because I was going to buy drugs, but oh God, I'm so embarrassed to say that. Where did Shane go? He just left. Where is he? He's gone. Just disappear. Be gone for like an hour. Come back later. Or sometimes if I wasn't going to do that stupid stuff, if I did just leave, just pull the Houdini. Like, I never would ever say bye to anybody back in the day. And not because I was trying to be a jerk. I just didn't want to deal with it. And if it's a matter of not drinking, you can do that too. Just leave. Nobody can, you can apologize later. Maybe if it's someone who is hosting a party that you respect and you care about or something, and they're going to understand. Like, if you're like, hey, I had to go home, or I had to go back to the room. I was having a hard time that night, and I needed to just kind of, go to bed or whatever. Like, have that plan ready too. That's like the last resort plan, man. This is really tough. It's getting late. Everyone's drunk. I'm actually getting annoyed now. I'm just going to leave. I'm out of here. And you don't need to go make the rounds to everybody if you don't want to. I mean, you can, if that's something that you feel you could do, but if you don't, it's okay. Just bounce, like, get out of there, like, leave, have an escape plan. All right, I know I said this earlier, but I'm going to say it again, and I'll continue to say it because it has become one of my favorite lines. Remember, no one ever said, my habitual drinking habits have really improved my life. Still never heard it. I don't think I will. It's very true. I have not met anybody who has continuously drinked over time and saw drastic improvement in their overall life, whether it's health, overall health and wellness, emotional, spiritual, relationships, financial. I mean, are there functioning people who do well who drink? Absolutely. So it's not what I'm trying to say, but I think over the course of time, people find out that alcohol robs your spirit, and it does not over a long term improve lives. It just doesn't. And I haven't seen it yet, and I don't imagine that I will. All right, number 11, like this one, put a coin, put a chip, put a picture, put some sort of reminder in your pocket or in your wallet or in your purse. If you're a woman and you're listening to this and you have, your bag with you or whatever. Jess has her bag. We got one of the bog bags for her recently. It's massive. She could probably put her whole room in there. But in any case, whether it's your pocket, your purse, a bog bag, a wallet, whatever, you can bring something that's close to you as a reminder of why you're choosing to not drink, this in this day, in this moment. For me, like I have a couple chips that my mentor and friend, and I think even one that Jess had given me at one point. And I'll throw those in my pocket sometimes, just as a little reminder, hanging out there. And you forget they're there sometimes too. And then all of a sudden you put your hand in your pocket. It always seems to happen right at the right moment. You're like, oh yeah, my chip, my coin, or my picture, a picture of my son. Why I'm not doing this, or a picture of, maybe your uncle who passed away of alcoholism, or gotten a bad wreck or something happened that was crazy and alcohol played a part in that. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe it was just, somebody that you lost that you care about, that you respect, and you feel like making changes. I'm just trying to give some examples here, hypothetically, but something close to you that will work and that will help you in that moment. A coin, chip, picture, some sort of reminder in your pocket, in your wallet, in your purse, wherever you want that. All right, got a couple more and then we're going to wrap up. Number 12, use the serenity prayer. One of my favorite prayers. One of the first ones I learned when I quit drinking and kind of went on this new path. Let's recite it real quick. If you don't know it, it's super easy. It's one of the best prayers, I think, in the moment. Like if I'm freaking out or I'm having a moment or I'm starting to get pissed, which I've been a little bit edgy driving lately, I noticed. Like, I don't know what it is, but people on the road, see, here I go. I'm blaming people on the road have really been driving me crazy. Well, if I really think about it, it actually has nothing to do with the people on the road. It's my damn attitude. It really is. It's my attitude to the people. Yes, there's some slope, like going to Cash's practice, right? And we got to go down Alamo Drives, long old drive trying to go to Keating. I swear, every time we're going to be there right on time. And every time, why is it you get behind the slowest person possible? They're taking their time. They're going so slow. It just drives me insane. And lately, I've been having to use the serenity prayer, and it works. Here it is. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Such a powerful prayer. And like I mentioned earlier, we did, I think I did the four components of the serenity prayer. That's not what I titled it. It's something like that, but it kind of broke down the serenity prayer and the importance of it and what each piece means just a couple podcasts ago. So check that one out if that's something that interests you. And maybe that's one of the tools that you want to add to your game plan list, because that was a really, really good one that broke it down, and it'll help you remember it too. Number 13, talk to someone immediately that you can trust. We kind of went over this a little bit already, but maybe there's someone there, a family member, a friend, who knows? Maybe you strike up a conversation with someone that you don't know and you just feel like you click and you trust them, and you can kind of tell, yeah, I'm kind of struggling right now. I'm, trying to stay away. If you feel that, you might not have to do that. Maybe you don't, hopefully you don't, but, talk to somebody immediately. That is the best thing. Don't hold off. Don't say, oh, no, I got it. Just go talk to somebody or step out and make that phone call that you have, the person that you can call. All right. I know this is a tough one. Be yourself. Be yourself. And sometimes you go and I know I'll speak for myself. When I was still drinking, if someone told me be yourself, and I was going to a party and I was going to go get drink and get drunk and hang out, I don't really know who that is, Because when we're intoxicated, we're different people. I'm sorry to say, it's the truth. We're a different version of ourselves. Let's put it that way. And when you do that over time, you really don't really know at the end of the day who you are, because it's like a couple different people. Because you got drunk Shane, whatever, I'm doing this, and then you got sober Shane, who's kind of like completely different, not as outgoing, and like it's a tough thing to deal with. And I understand how that could be, especially if you're new in this going in, but it's something to keep conscious of, I guess, is just be yourself, just be you, just try to relax. You don't have to escape. You don't have to escape through alcohol and be something or somebody else in order to be social. Just be you. God loves you for just who you are. People love you for just who you are. You don't need to fix yourself and alter your behavior and your mind and the way you feel and the way you act with a substance in order to fit in order to have fun, in order to be a part of. You're a part of. Just be yourself. Just be you. I wish that's one thing I wish I knew, and I'm still learning this part, but I wish I would have had this before, like being able to see myself how God sees me versus how the world sees me. Flesh versus spirit. It's a really tough thing. It really is. All right, a couple more and we're going to wrap up. Perspective. Look at this as an opportunity to get to know your true self. We talked a little bit about that, about being yourself, but who is your true self? And you'll find that as you go on in this new, this new change. And even if it's just in that moment or just at this party or this wedding or this dinner or this get together, a little bit at a time. And it's possible to have authentic fun without alcohol and without feeling like crap the next day. And then a little caveat there, man, if you can dance, just dance. Who cares if you look stupid? Like I'm the same. I'm not like a huge dancer, but I've noticed that dancing, as goofy as it is, when you're able to let loose and do it without any influence of drugs or alcohol, like it's pretty fun actually, because you just don't care. And that is authenticity there. It really is. It's not fake. It's not manufactured. It's a piece of your true self, because you're literally letting loose. So if there's an opportunity to dance wherever you're going, do it, especially if it's with your lady or, your significant other, whatever that is, like have a good time with them. And then last but not least, be at ease with yourself just the way you are. Like I love that one. It comes from a meditation from Noah Levine. It's one of my favorite ones. And just being at ease with yourself just the way you are, just where you're at. If you feel lost, it's one of my favorite ones too. If you feel lost at any moment, look at your feet, because God's got you right where you're supposed to be in that moment. Another little trick you can use. You can take this new plan. Well, actually, so backtrack real quick. That was about 16 or 17 different tips. Okay. Take a handful of those that you like and put them together. And you can take this new plan created and you can apply it in all aspects of your social life, at events, at get-togethers, dinners, parties, meetings, work meetings. It's not really a one size fits all. It's probably not going to be as effective if you don't have some accountability from someone else either. So definitely find someone who you can trust, who you can talk to about your plan. Take some time to debrief with them and go over the plan after. What worked, what didn't work. What you liked and what you didn't like. Like that accountability is a huge, huge part of that. And you should honestly have some sort of coach, accountability partner, mentor, someone that you trust. And that's what I do as well. Like I help men stay accountable. I help them put together plans. I help them set goals, to succeed at staying alcohol free and becoming the leaders that they know they really are. And some of those men are brand new to sobriety. Some of them have years of experience. It just kind of depends. Everyone's in a different part in their life, different age. Some of them are entrepreneurs. Some are in finance. Some are in media. Some are entertainers, musicians. Some are in construction. I work with all different types of dudes who share the same want and the same need, and that is to quit drinking and cut alcohol out of their lives. So if you want more info on that, you can go to thatsoberguy.com/coaching, and I'll put the links in the show notes here. You fill out a little questionnaire. It's completely confidential. It's only viewed by me. And then I review that, and we'll go from there and see if we can set up some time to chat. So really appreciate you guys. This isn't an overnight fix either. If you've been drinking for a long time, it's going to take some time to work through breaking some of those habits, some of those routines, and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. But I want to end with this. Here is the good news. If I can do it, so can you. I promise you that. It just takes some determination, some guts, some commitment, and some accountability, and having a game plan. So I hope something spoke to you today. Share the podcast with a friend. Connect with us on Instagram at That Sober Guy Podcast. Peace, love, and respect. Keep your blood clean.